I've lived in a home for 29 years that's had almost no heating bills. My dad took our family on a tour to the cliff dwellers, the Indian cliff dwellings of Manitou Springs in 1962. And I never forgot about that. I thought, oh, these guys are sweltering in the winter sun. It's cold on the other side of the canyon, and they're getting free heat for the winter, and I never forgot that. That's what made me think of, I want a solar home since I was a kid.
You've just met John Avenson. He lives in an energy efficient house that he had built in the suburbs of Denver in 1981. You may have noticed in the opening credit that John attributes the energy efficiency of his house to both the Anasazi and to the Jetsons. And I don't know about you, but I don't normally think of those two things together. The Anasazi are an ancient tribe of people who lived in what's now the southwestern part of the United States. The Jetsons, of course, are a cartoon family with a robot maid, a car that flies, and all kinds of futuristic gadgets. You've already seen how the Anasazi fit into this story. What about the Jetsons? Well, for the answer to that question, you need to meet another occupant of John's house, Rex.
Rex.
Yes.
We have guests.
Welcome. I am Rex, the environmental monitor computer.
I've always had the dream of living like the Jetsons, and I wanted robots in the house. So Rex is controlling the house. He's the environmental monitor computer. And so the electric solar panels on the roof are creating energy. This graph is from midnight to midnight, and you can see that at about 8 a.m. the panels were exposed to the sun, and as the noontime came, the panels grew up like a bell curve. There must have been some clouds at the 12:30 mark about. This part here, the upper portion, is updated every 2 minutes. You can see the sun's irradiance is 625. On a really good day, that'll hit about 1,000 or 1,100. Right now, I'm exporting 1,700 kilowatts, 1,700 watts. We're generating 2,000, and I'm using 522. Down here is historical. This is moved down to here at the end of the day. You can click on week, month, year, and lifetime.
By the way, if you want to check out the current energy usage at John's house, you can go on the internet to www.avenson.net. That's AVENSON. And about halfway down the page, you'll find a link to a real-time monitor that shows the current energy usage on a screen that looks exactly like the one that you saw when you met Rex. And now that you've met Rex, let's look at some of the other things that make John's house so energy efficient. And we'll start on the outside.
In the winter time, the sun is over Australia. It's very low to the horizon. And in the summertime, the sun is up over Colorado. So one of the concepts of the solar passive heated house is to shade the heat of the sun in the summer. The 2-foot overhangs above the upper level windows and the other decks that shade the lower windows. There's no sun in those windows from May through August. I'm dedicating the whole roof to electric generating photovoltaic panels. There's 28 panels. They are 180 watts a piece. So I've got a 4.8 kilowatt system on the house that supplies about equal of what I use every month. The sun's angle at December 21st is also the angle of that triangle part of the roof. At 12 noon December 21st, the sun is perfectly lined up with all the walls in the house, radiating real intensely into all 3 floors of the windows. So that's perfect time. You want that heat in the winter, and the house will stay warm. Now, on the left and right side of the home, the west side and the east side, the cement foundation has been isolated from the cold winter dirt that freezes by styrofoam, by polyiso styrofoam between the dirt and the foundation. That helps the foundation become part of the heating mass. Those are called heat sheets. They're made up in Toronto, Canada. The left side of each one of those panels is a photovoltaic panel which runs a fan for free. And the sun hits that a PV panel, it starts sucking air out of the bedroom behind the panel. The hot air, like maybe 65 degrees, comes across the panel and shoots back into the room at 160 degrees. So there's 100 degrees change in heating in these very efficient panels. You can make a non-solar house a solar house with these things. They're so fantastic because you can mount these on any south side of a house that does get sun, and they automatically just suck the air out of your house and throw it back in treat them as a furnace. They come with a thermostat inside the house. You can turn them off and on. They're a great way for a mountain house that has no electricity. They would be like a furnace up there. On the south side of the house, the winter morning sun is so low that my very nice neighbors behind me allowed me to cut down a tree that was in the far corner of the backyard, and they allowed me to top the next 3 trees. They used to be as tall as the other trees along this. The tall trees are not intruding because you're approaching 12 noon, 1 p.m., 3 p.m., and the sun is higher in the sky. The electricity comes in from the solar panels and heads into the rectifier box, and then is sent, any excess is sent out to the public service company. You'll see the dots are going from right to left. This represents the old wheel that used to turn, and this represents that the wheel is going backwards and the number will go down and down. So in the last 5 years, I have only used 1,683 kilowatt hours. I used to use 1,000 a month. I used to use almost 1,000 a month. So this is less, this is about 2 months worth that I used to have in over 5 years.
So that's a little bit of what's going on outside John's house to make it more energy efficient. Now let's check out some things on the inside.
The design of this home is to have hot air rise. It then is reaching the ceiling up here. There's a vent and there's a thermostat that will automatically say I've got superheated air, and it turns on a fan down in the basement, and that it will start sucking air off the ceiling of the house all the way through a tunnel down to the basement floor, and then that hot air is trickled up through a rock box all day. The rock box is made out of cinder blocks. It's 10 feet tall by 5 by 5. So here are the rocks. These rocks will be what I live off at nighttime. The white monitor box you see there is a temperature probe for the environmental monitor computer. So from those rocks down is 10 feet deep, and the hot air will be flowing through those in the wintertime. In addition to the thermal mass of the rock box is also the bricks on the inside of the house. We have the bricks on this wall, and we have bricks on the east wall inside the house. Those help to reduce the solar temperature swing between night and day.
One cool feature of John's house, and one that I actually knew about before I went to visit him, are some shades that Rex can raise and lower automatically during the winter depending on whether the sun's out or not. When the sun's out, putting heat into the house, the shades are up. When the sun goes down, or even if it goes behind a cloud during the day, Rex will automatically lower the shades to trap the heat already in the house inside.
Rex,
Yes.
lower living room shade.
Bedroom shade going down.
So temperature probes on the glass, in between the glass and outside, will do this automatically. The magnetic strip across the bottom will grab the iron bar on the bricks and create an airlock. The airlock is very important. You have a track on the right, and you have the magnetic grabbing the bottom. That helps to isolate the cold air.
There's a lot more, of course, but I hope that gives you a good idea of some of the things John is doing to make his home more energy efficient.